Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. As always, I'm looking forward to spending some quality crafty time with you. I do hope you're enjoying all the fabulous content, the videos, the tutorials that we're offering you over this lovely spring extravaganza. And I hope you like the new collection, the Dreamatorium collection of stamps. And I'm so lucky that I'm going to be bringing this video to you today, which is using a mixture of some new and some old stamps. I have to say that's what I love about Tracy's designs, that we can mix and match. So this is the piece I've created, and I just love this clock, Grandfairy Clock. I've got a feeling, I keep saying to the grandchildren, my little boys, that instead of grandma, they keep teasing me I'm a grand fairy, but I don't know how to take that. So, but anyway, this clock is absolutely stunning, look. And I've teamed it up with, and it's the Druids Pass here. And I know we normally use that as a bridge, but it was this bit here that I took the inspiration and I thought, where have I seen that before? And that's what I love about when we get new stamps. And I look and I see, and my head just wanders. So that's the design, or something similar, you know what I'm like. And I'm going to start with my stamping. And there's quite a bit to this, so I'm just going to get straight into it and then I'll check how you are. And I'm going to use a piece of the Lavinia, the multifarious, the A5. And I've got it here. And we're going to start with our lovely Grandfairy Clock. Now, it's quite sizable, and I know you like to ask. So this one is sort of 5.5 inches that way, and at its widest, probably 3. And for this, I'm going to use Pinecone. I decided to go sort of like a vintage theme, and I love Pinecone. It's a lovely dark brown. And again, great for men's cards. If you need a card for a man, I'm thinking this clock retirement card. I mean, you know, you could put dragons flying around it. You could literally just use the clock. We've got our grey board. Cogs could go with it. You know, again, oh, you're such a clever lot, you. I know you will. Your imagination will be like mine, and it'll run riot. I do have to stop mine sometimes. Gets a bit carried away. So we've inked it up, and I'm just going to put my clock sort of, I'm going to go for there. Now, there's a lot of detail in this stamp, and you know me, I worry because my weak point is my stamping. And my arthritic knuckles are playing up at the minute, so I am going to leave it a little bit longer and give it a good... But I always say to you, you know your weak points, your strong points. I know I can't just, if I just put it down, lifted it up, it wouldn't stamp properly. So I have to give it a bit of a... There we go. Lift that up. You see, it was worth just doing that little bit longer. Look at the detail. Absolutely stunning. Oh, and look, so that bit there, which I'm going to point out to you, I've just looked, I've got a bit of glitter on my stamp. So, and that's another good reason that I clean. It's gone now, look. That'll teach me to use glitter. But don't worry, I've got a lovely fine liner, we'll go over that, so not a problem. Druids Pass next. Now, I do apologise if ever I call it the Druids Inn. You know me. This is the Druids Pass. It's a good job we never play the game of word association with stamps, isn't it? Or name that stamp, name that ink colour. We all know I'd be terrible at it. Just coming up with all these random things that... So, I just want this to go sort of round here. And as I say, for me, it just goes so well with the beautiful, and it just look, and don't worry about this because we're going to add the colour around there. Now we have got a lovely set of purple cat mushrooms. Now I need a little bit of copy paper, and you know me, I keep my piece and I just tear this As I say, I'm sticking with brown all the way. You could introduce colours if you want. And I'm thinking, let's have one here. And I just want to mask that bottom bit there. So I hope you're having fun. And I hope you're enjoying everything that's sort of coming your way. So much wealth of knowledge and fun and hints and tips. You know, I really hope you're enjoying it. And more to the point, I hope you've got a cheeky brew and a biscuit. I'd love to know what you've got. I've got a glass of water here. And we all know that's just while I do this video. I will be treating myself to a nice coffee when I've finished. Now, I don't want this too symmetrical, so I'm going to add an extra one on this side. And I'm just going to put my copy of paper there just to mask off. So we get that bit. And I like that fact of it just being, I don't like things if they're too symmetrical. It messes with my head. Now, in with the fairy ladders. Now, I must admit, I don't use these very often. So it was a great excuse for me to get them out. Have you got these? Have you used them recently? And this one, look, just goes from there to there. Look at that. So my fairies have got a way of climbing up. And then we'll swap. There's a smaller one. And that one. And I'm thinking our cheeky mice would be fabulous around this. And this one we're just going to put going right off the design. So that one. Because what we need to do is stamp our lovely fairy Dana. And she is just going to sit on here. And the thing is, she's had a way in my head of getting up there because she's gone up the ladder. So my head might come over just because I want to just make sure she's sitting on top of that lovely mushroom there. Yeah, so I know she's there. So little bit more stamping. And we've got these lovely silkweed hops. And when I looked at the shape, I love this, but I just want to extend it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just add, and I'm just going to turn this way, just because for me, and I'm just going to put one there. So it's almost like, you know, if you go to the hairdresser and ask for some extensions. Well, that's what I'm adding here. I'm just adding some extensions. And then we'll add a couple on this side. And then I just want the end of one. So again, in with my copy of paper, because I just want a little bit sort of angled there. And if I turn that round again, just because I didn't want it to look too symmetrical. And then we've got a lovely set of fairies. And this, again, it's quite an old set, this. So I wonder how many of you got this. And this is the Fairy Foragers. And one of them, look. Now, again, if you're not sure where to put these, look, we'll take them all off. Your acetate, if you're one of our lovely new friends and followers, your acetate is fabulous for just placing, look. So I'm thinking, yes, that one's going to go lovely up there. So use the acetate. So where's our lovely, and again, I'm sticking with the brown. So now it's just a matter of deciding which of these lovely stamps. But as I say with this, I do think this clock is going to be so popular, and I can just see, I can imagine so many different designs with it. And what's lovely is the fact that your older stamps like these go with it. So we've got this fairy here. And now this is quite good because what I want to do is try and get her lovely hands onto here. So this is quite a feat if you have a go at this. So again, I'm just going to stand right above, but I'm trying to not get my head in the camera, but there we go. So she just looks like she's just moving these lovely florally bits here. So we want one more, and we're going to go for this lovely one here with the lamp. So again, give her a good inking up, and then just for balance, because if you look, it does look like there's something missing here, so she can just be coming in here with the lamp look, and then it looks nicely balanced. And you know me, I like to do my stamping first. So that's that lovely stamping done. And we'll just take our copy of paper. Your Versafine clay is a slower drying ink. So just before I start adding any of the stencil work and the ink, I just want to blot it dry. But I've got to be honest, if you were doing a black and white, you could leave this just monochromatic, just the brown and white. But we're going to come in and add a bit more detail. So I've gone for this lovely stencil, and this is ornate. And I just thought it reminds me, to be honest, of the type of wallpaper at the Dreamatorium. And that was what was in my head. Now, because I can see through, look, I can just take the stencil work around the design. So I'm going to use Sahara, and I've gone to Elements now. And I'm just going to, you know me, clean it in the lid, just blend that brush. It just blends the ink, gets it nicely on your brush. And then very gently, we're just going to tickle through the stencil. So hold your brush lightly and just tickle round the design. I nearly said tickle round the fairies, but yeah, you know, you could just tickle round your fairies. Now I'm just going to blend in the lid. I don't need to go into the ink pad because I think there's enough on the lid. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, your ink pad lasts longer if you do this. So a little tip. And I like anything that lasts longer, you know. We like a bit of good. I'm from the Lake District. We like it up north. We like a bit of value for money. And if you can get things to last longer. I'm not coming past here, just going down. If I want to see what it looks like, look, lift it up. Oh, that's lovely. I'm so happy with that. And I'm going to leave this, spritz that, and use it in my journal. So I'll reactivate that when I've finished, and that'll be lovely. So what we want to do now is just add a little bit more colour at the base. So I'm going to come in with Henna, and I'm going to come in with my smaller brush. Now, you know, I love these little brushes because what I can do, look, is just in here, and I'm almost colouring in, and it just starts to build, and a little bit of depth here. And then the same. Now I'm going to come in and edge it all with my larger brush, but just at the bottom, it just almost starts that process of getting some ink on the card. And you can see how it starts to build up. And I'm just going to come round the whole design, as I say, just with this smaller brush. And it's almost a quick way of adding that shade and that lovely glow. And it'll emphasise. And I just think already, for me, that's starting to look. So in with the larger brush now. And we're just going to add some ink around the edge. So quite speedily. And I always ink up on the corners. We'll go into the corners and then along the bottom. And then into the corner and up the side. Turn it round. into the corner, along the top. And the same on this corner, and then down the side. Just want a little bit more there, and then down that side. Now I am going to come in with a darker colour as well, but for now we're just going to leave it like that. We'll just wipe this. Again, you could smoosh that ink, but as I say, I know there's a little bit of detail in this today, and I want to do it a little bit quicker because I know I don't want to keep you too long. So we'll add some colour now. And we're going to come in with our pencils now. We'll put all the numbers, the colours, in the list below. But just to let you know, we've got 4, 18, 33, 170, sound like a bingo caller, 25, 30, 29 and 179. So they're the colours I'm going to be using. And I'm just going to start, we'll add a little bit of colour to the clock face. Now, I am going to use my wink of colour, so don't worry that they're not blended perfectly. When I bring my lovely clear wink of Stella, it'll blend the ink beautifully. Now, that's the yellow, but I just want to add a little bit of depth around the edge look. So I'll just come in with this almost beige, and we'll just add that to give some depth. And then while we've got the yellow, my grandparents used to have a gorgeous clock on the wall, and it had a pendulum like this and the weights. And I absolutely loved it. As a child, I used to love looking at it. And what I love about these stamps, especially this range, you know, it really has evoked memories of childhood, and quite a nostalgic range for me, which I think is lovely. Now, the steps. So anybody who's a lovely colourist, I do apologise, and Mona, you do the most amazing colouring. You know me, I'm a bit of a cheats colourer. So when you're good at colouring, obviously you colour this your own way. Me, I'm just going for a cheats colouring. So I'm going to put the yellow down the middle, and then a darker brown at the edge, and then a beigey brown in the middle. And I'm going to do that on everything. So literally when it comes to the stones here at the bottom, again, and do you know what? I'm just doing this quick, but I think effective colouring today. But I think it would be lovely for you to just take your time, you know, put the kettle on, get a brew, get that biscuit tin out, get your favourite biscuit, and just enjoy colouring in. But for me, and I've just dropped a pencil on the floor, it's landed on Eric's head, bless him, sorry Eric. Right, I've got that now. So, but for me, just for today, I just need it a bit speedier. But also to show you if you do need a design a bit speedy. You know, when you suddenly remember it's somebody's retirement and you should have had a card ready and you forgot. So I'm coming in with the darker colour. And again, I'm going round the edges because they would be darker at the edges and at the bottom. And in the crevices, look. And then with the mid-brown, then I'm just going to blend that lovely. And as I say, when we add that wink of Stella, because I know you're looking at it now going, Jo, you're going to have to do some better colouring than that. But honestly, you'd be surprised. I think this is a bit of a colouring hack. And then let's go with that yellow, just to blend into that brown look. Right, so the clock. Again, we want a little bit of brightness, a little bit of yellow. just on these edges here, just where you'd get an odd hint. And then let's come in with our darker colour. So again, at the base here, this is where I'm going to have my darker colour. I'm just checking you can see. So much detail, and often, I don't know about you ladies and gentlemen, it's when I start colouring, when I start using a stamp, that's the bit when I see all the detail. I think I tend not to appreciate it at first, and it's only when you start using it. So now I'm just going to come in with the brown, and I'm just blending that lighter colour and the darker colour to give me that lovely rich. And again, this is just my background colour, so I can come in with my gel pens, my Posca pen, and add some lovely highlights later. And I love the fact of this because it gives you the different tones of beautiful wood. Because after all, it's not just what, I mean, I love wood. And when you look at it, the knots and the tones and the different browns that will be there. And then back with that, lovely to blend these colours together. Right, mushrooms. Again, we've got lots of different mushrooms. Which ones are you going to use? I've just realised I've done these red and they're called purple cap, aren't they? So maybe I should have... Oh, do you think that would be too obvious to do them purple? Maybe I should have done them purple. Just doing a combination of different. Again, I don't know about you, but you know me, I just get a bit carried away. Tell you what, let's add a bit of purple on here, bluey purple. And if we do the dots on this one, then that can be why that's called purple cap. I'm a bit slow, you see, that only just dawned on me. Took a while, didn't it? Right, so last little thing, we want to add some colour to the wings while we're using our pencils. So I'm thinking she can have red. And I want to keep to almost the colour tones I've used. We can add a little bit of yellow to the lamps. And then maybe we'll go blue for this fairy. Got to have purple for one, haven't we? So maybe up here. And again, I'm leaning on my kitchen roll just because I'm conscious that if I've got ink on my hand, I don't want to get it. I don't want to spoil the work. Also, if I've just got moisture, remember the element inks react with water. So if you've got moisture on your hand, there we go. So we'll put the pencils down for the minute, and I'll just show you now the difference once you start. So this is just my clear Wink of Stella, and I'm going to come in and blend the yellow first. Sorry, excuse me. You know my dodgy throat. And then once I've gone in the yellow, and can you see, if I bring it closer, you see how it's blending it now, the difference? So we'll go into the mid brown, and I'm just going along with the mid brown and then into the darker colour, into that dark brown. And then just going to give that a bit of a wipe, and we'll do the same on the steps, the yellow and into the brown. And the reason I keep wiping it is I'm going to get a little bit of colour transference on my clear. Now you can use a water brush for this, but I love the fact that the Wink of Stella gives me a little bit of shimmer. So I'm getting that extra shimmer, and as well as the blending, using it as a water brush. So again, I'm going to come all the way around this lovely clock and just blend that colour. And as I say, it'll give me that lovely shimmer. And if there's any little bits that I've missed, look, it actually blends over. And that's why for me, if I do need a bit of almost a quick bit of colouring, it's very forgiving because I can go over these bits and just blend the colours together. Just go all the way down there. Just give that a little bit of a clean, and then we'll go on to the wings. And then a little bit round the light, look, and you can drag that colour out. Now I just want to check always check it's clean before you put it away. But if I lift this up, can you see, you know, it will get more sparkly as it dries, but for me, not only does it blend, but I've got that lovely sparkle, that lovely sort of magic. So, a couple more little things. We want to add a little bit more drama to this and the finishing tricks. So we're going to come in, the first thing we're going to do is bring in this dark denim. Now, I know it's very much a brown, and when I was making this, I couldn't decide whether to go dark brown, but in the end, I went for dark denim, just to give me almost like a sort of a mystic tone towards the end, just for that framing. I'm going to start on the corners, as always, and just blend around the edges. And once I'm happy with the corner, then just drag some colour up the side. And I love the way it brings that sort of magical blue tone over the brown. And this one, I want it quite deep, so I'm actually going straight from my ink pad. If you've got a new ink pad, I would definitely recommend blending in the lid, because a new ink pad can be quite dark. And what I tend to do is just put the work and have a look to check if all four corners are equal. There we go, I think they are there. So we'll clean this up. Again, I would get your journal and smoosh that and give yourself another background to play with. But obviously we'll just clean it up today, because I know a few of you will be wanting to get on. Little finishing tricks. Fan brush. And we're just going to add, if you're worried, if you're new and you've not done much blending before and you're worried about lines around the edges, this is lovely. Just adding some little water droplets. I'll just discard, but also to me, it just gives you a little bit of sort of magic round the edges. And then while that's faux bleaching, said bleaching then, faux bleaching. Do you know, I think I've got a whole new technique there. While that's activating, we can come in with our shade. And for that, we're going to just bring in our lovely pastel pencils. And we're just going to add a little bit more drama. So with our black pastel pencil, we'll add some, look at that straight away, some depth in here and here. Now, I don't need to spray fixative for this because I'm not adding too much. And to help blend it, I'm just going to use a biodegradable cotton bud, and that'll just fix it. But also, I think it looks better if it's blended. And you can smudge it out, look, just to add a bit more drama. I can just come up the side here. And then just at the base. And quite a bit here. And you need to be brave with this. And again, we'll just smudge that out. And if you've not used your pastel pencils before, just add a little bit, walk away and come back, and then it's amazing how sort of brave you get to add more. And I just want to blend it that way so it's not got a definite edge. And then just down this side, we're just going to add a little bit more. And as I say, just down the one side. And that's going to work beautifully on top of that ink that we put. And the same thing just here on the clock face, just by adding a bit of shade there. Can you see? And the thing is with this, it's all about light and shade. So we want to just emphasize that a little bit more. So it's a combination now with our lovely yellow sparkly posca. I can just add round the clock, just on the inside of that, and we'll just highlight that there and here. And as I say, it's these things together. So on these lovely stones, on the middle of the steps, let's just add some yellow posca. And just on some of the ones here. And again, it just brightens it up a little bit on the lamps. And that combination, like I was saying about the white and the dark. So I'm going to add a few little highlights to the fairies now with the white pastel. So we've added those dark areas. So now we can come in with just a couple of highlights. And again, just on here. And then I want a little bit more white, so I'm coming in with my uni ball, and I'm thinking if I just highlight the lovely mushroom there, a little bit on the top of her wing. And just in the middle of the steps, and then on the odd. And you can add as much highlight. I tend not to overcook it. I don't want to overdo it, but just enough, just so we know. And then last little thing, I'm just going to give this around the edge a blot, just so that it's all nice and dry. And then there's the finished. Now, if you wanted, just on these bits, you could come in with a little bit more look. So just to blend the edges here between that pastel and that blue, we can just come in with a little bit of ink. There we go. And I just think the drama that you get, and there's your design when it's mounted up. And obviously I've just put some yellow behind. So I do hope you have a play with this. And as I say, I cannot wait to see what you create with this beautiful clock. I really can't. Oh, this one I've added one of our lovely sentiment stickers, Magical Things. So thanks as always for joining me. I'd love you to leave a comment. I'd like to know what were you drinking and eating while you were watching me. See, that'll make me hungry, won't it? And then I'm going to have to go and get something to eat. And I can't wait to see if you make a design using our beautiful Grandfairy Clock. Please tag me and I'd love to see what you create. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, thanks for being here. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.